So working sort of the size, round about the size of your sheet of paper, about A4. Again, just sort of lightly sketch it out where your skyline is, which is quite high, obviously, because we've got various trees and so on. And just a suggestion, a light suggestion of where it is. And then don't bother about drawing all the plants and everything. We just need this bit of a bridge or walkway coming down to these stepping stones. Nice thing about pictures like this is it doesn't have to be spot on. You can move things about a little bit, so you're not trying to get a 100% accurate rendering of it. We're trying to capture the feel of it. So really I just need to put these stones in where those are, stepping stones, and then I've got the edge of my water here. So that's very lightly, that's all I need. And we're going to start off putting down some blue wash, tilting the paper up, the blue wash for the sky, and also while we do that we'll put blue down onto our water. And we also need to have some Payne's grey or black with a bit of blue added to add that in to get these darker shadow areas. So we need to be prepared with our colours. So a blue for the sky, cobalt blue is ideal. I'm just using my little set of 12 White Nights paints this week rather than the big 36 set that I normally use, just to show that you can mix colours and so on. I'm never sure what these colours are. I know that they the blue here, it does tend to granulate, so it gets that slightly textured feel for the sky, which isn't perhaps the best, but that's the one I'm going to use. But cerulean cobalt is a good colour for the sky. We don't want it too dark, and we don't want it too light, and we're not putting any clouds or anything in, so we're going to mix up a fair amount of wash. If we think back to our first week of doing washes, I'm just going to put that along the top. So loading my brush each time, nice big number 12 brush, and then just overlapping all the time so that you don't get any lines. If it goes a bit weird and you don't like it, you can always take a bit off and add some clouds in. I'm just going over my bit of trees that I've put in, and then I'm just going to get a little bit of tissue and just wipe it off where I've gone over those bits of bushes and trees. I want a sort of irregular wash to the edge of it. You don't want a flat, completely flat line. Same blue, can do it a little bit stronger. Let's do it a bit stronger, the reflections into the pond, and again I'm going to work these around my stones, putting it onto dry paper. So I'm not doing a wash, I'm just painting nice and quickly. with some black or Payne's grey, just where it's a bit darker. So black will mix with the blue and give me a sort of bluey grey, a bit like Payne's grey, quite dark around here as well. Don't worry about the shadows on the stones yet. Right, and then, while that's nice and wet, I just want to take a little bit of salt. And you see where it's a bit speckled with this weed in the water, and just put a little bit. I don't want to go mad, I don't want to put loads in. I just want to drop a little bit, hopefully you can see a little bit of salt into there to give us that speckled effect as it pulls out the pigment. Yeah, salt on there on the print table. Get it to dry quite quickly. Beginning to work already, the salt, you can see it's getting these little white speckles coming through already. And you can see that the sky has granulated a bit, which isn't, I would have probably used a different blue, but I just wanted to keep to my set of 12 colours here, even though I'm going to be using 1, 2, 3, 4 more, probably about 6. So either going with Payne's grey or black. That's alright, so it'll mix with the blue that's underneath there. It's a bit streaky, it doesn't matter, it's water. But you can see that it's beginning to lift off and give us this sort of speckled effect to suggest the weeds, the pond weed on the pond. What we're going to do then is to go in with the greens, yellows and greens. I've got a sheet sort of showing the various stages just to remind you. Reminds me sometimes as well what I'm doing. And we'll again use salt. And if you did want to use any masking fluid, I have just sharpened some sticks. If there's any little bits of white that you particularly want to keep, we can use masking fluid. If you use a brush, it's an idea to put a bit of soap on your brush beforehand and then wash your brush as soon as you've finished with your masking fluid, because it's basically glue that we're using. I was going to possibly think about putting some masking fluid on this, but I didn't in my test piece because it was up here and I was downstairs, so I didn't bother. There are a couple of other pictures that you may want to have a go at or start tonight, because there's certain things that we need to just let dry, and having 2 pieces on the go is a nice way of coping with that. So my sky, well, it's not dry, but if it bleeds into that, it doesn't matter too much. So I'm going to take going to work fairly quickly and fairly wet. So I'm going to take a lemon yellow, and I'm going to put that. My yellows always end up looking green anyway because they get contaminated. So it's quite a lot of this lovely light yellow green in the picture. So I'm going to just dab that on with my number 12 brush. I've then got this sort of like a sap or hooker's green. We'll put some of that in. That merge and mix a bit as well. Keep it quite wet so that it doesn't dry out too quickly. Bring your colours up to your skyline as well. So just dab in with the brush, filling up that area, going back in with the yellow as well. And then again I'm going to take my bit of salt. Yeah, I don't want loads of salt, but particularly in the trees in the distance, and sprinkle some of that on. I'm just going to put a little bit more green into that, break that up a bit. And I can also use a bit of cling film, crumple it up a bit again, and use that where these sort of more reedy type grassy areas, long grasses, I put those in there. Crumple up my cling film. Over here as well. I'm never quite sure how it's going to come out, so